Well, again, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
On the podcast and hanging out and being out there and kicking ass and talking smack to people. I like that too. Did I miss anything? Anything else?
No, I mean I think you covered it all.
I think we might have covered some subjects.
I think you got I think you covered it.
You know, Echo.
Yes.
You got any questions for the man over there?
No, usually I come up with some lighthearted question, but man, I'm out of words to be honest with you.
We took that little break.
Yeah.
And Echo's like, man, he's like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this really happened, man. And I'm like, yeah, I give Echo a heads up sometimes. You know, I say, hey man, it's going to be a heavy one or whatever. And I was like, told him this afternoon, I'm like, hey man, it's going to be a heavy one, you know, stand by. And, you know, we're downstairs when we were taking that break, and he's like, man, all this really happened. I said, yeah, and you know who it happened to? The guy we're sitting in the room with and his friends. Like, that's what happened. So, you know, early on when I started this podcast, I'd be reading a book from World War I.
Yeah.
Or I'd be reading a book from World War II or Vietnam or whatever. And I'd like, after, I don't know how many podcasts, but like 7 or 8 podcasts, I was like, hey, I just want to stop for a second and remind everybody that the characters that I'm talking about in these books, these characters, they're not characters in a movie. They're people. They're humans. And this stuff that we're talking about really happened to these people. So, again, it's obviously having you sitting here, and I was talking to you about when Colonel William Reeder was in here, and you know, you're reading stuff that happened to him. He was tortured. He was mock executions. He was locked in a 2-foot tall bamboo cage in the jungles in Vietnam, and he's got his legs in shackles, and he's trying to sleep, and he's getting woken up by the rats that are eating the wounds in his legs. And it's like, that's just inconceivable.
Yeah. I mean,
and it happened.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, you know, I hear stories like that, and it's just, you know, that's real people.
Yeah.
These are real people, just like us.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I mean, I'm sure you saw me, like, sometimes, you know, I get emotional when I read your story, but why do I get emotional when I read your stories? Because I'm thinking of everything I've been through. I'm thinking of my friends, and I'm just like, man, you know, it's real. And for those of you people that are listening to this, and I addressed like the veterans out there a bunch today, but you know, to those of you that didn't have the opportunity to serve for whatever reason, you know, if I could relate something to you, it's like, yeah, these people, these lieutenants, these sergeants, these staff sergeants, man, they're people, man. They're people.
Yeah. They're just people.
Yep.
They're just people. I mean, they're just people. They're just, and you know, and I think that's kind of what makes it hard for society is that they see so many of these movies and they read these books and, you know, they read it, but what they don't understand is that somebody lived it. You know, and I think that's a perspective that you always have to remind yourself of, is that, yeah, you're reading it, but somebody lived it. You know?
Yeah.
Then you kind of see, you know, on the news, like, oh yeah, the Medal of Honor ceremony and the pictures, you know, of you getting the, and, you know, you see the president putting it on, and it's like, wow, that's so great or whatever, and what we don't see, you know, people who haven't served, is like what really happened to arrive at that one quote unquote glorious moment where you get the medal. Oh my gosh, thank you. Let's go party or so. I don't know, something, you know, like it's just, it's like, dang, bro, yeah,
people think it's just so great, you know, And I despise everything that medal stands for. For me, you know, I mean, not anybody else. But you know, when I put that medal around my neck, to me, it's literally, here's the stamp to show the world how bad I failed. Here's the, you know, that's why I don't wear it. I don't wear it because, you know, it's the worst day of my life. And I lost everything that day. I lost not just my team. I lost my career in the Marine Corps. I mean, everything that I wanted to be was gone within one day. And, you know, and then I get recognized for it. You know, so not only do you have to live with it, but now you have to live with it in the face of the nation.
Well, from that perspective, from my perspective, looking at that, for one thing, the medal, yeah, I mean, it was put around your neck, but I believe that medal represents everyone that was with your team.
Yeah.
And you might have gotten the medal put around your neck, but it represents, that story is going to be told over and over again. And your name might be at the top of the list, but every name is going to be on that list. Everyone's going to know. And I mean, obviously, I can't imagine the burden that comes with that medal that you live with. But at the same time, being able to have your brothers remembered, I think that it makes it worthwhile.
And you know, and that's the piece of it. You're right. I mean, so on the selfish, you know, what I just said was on the selfish side of it, right? That is for me. That is the only reason I did accept the medal, was because I want my teammates to live on forever. I want people to know who they were, because the day that I stop speaking their name is the day they truly die. And I have an obligation that as long as I can still breathe, that their names are still need to be told. And so that's what that medal allows me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it is their medal. I mean, it's for them. But yeah, I mean, you know, you don't, it's just, it goes against, you know, and I think the one thing, you know, that's so hard for us to wrap around is how many times in your training how many times did you set, like when you were training guys and this and that, how many times did you ever set them up for when they did everything that they could, they failed?
Hey, to be honest with you, when I was running training, I did that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I mean, you can talk to anybody that went through training when I ran it. It was just mayhem. And it was, you were gonna carry out bodies. You had 16 guys in a platoon. You were going to be carrying 6 bodies out. And you're going to be carrying them for 4 kilometers to a helicopter extract, which wasn't going to show up, and you're going to have to go another 6. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And there was times where I'd kill every single, training. I'd kill every single SEAL because they were not doing what they were supposed to do, or they were making mistakes, or the leadership wasn't stepping up. I did that all the time.
Yeah.
I did it all the time. I mean, I came back from Ramadi where my guys were in some really bad situations, and I wanted everyone to be ready for that, man.
Yeah.
And like I mean, I was not. I mean, I came back from deployment and got put in charge of training. It was awesome. It was the best thing that I ever could have done for me, and I thought it was the best thing I could do for my teammates.
Yeah.
Was to be like, okay, we're gonna make this training hard, really hard. And so probably not. You probably thought I was gonna say never, but man, when I was running training,
and that's awesome.
I had many guys that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and would say like, yeah, hey man, we got hammered hard in this situation, and we were ready. Nothing as bad as your situation, but yeah.
But the mentality of it is, there are some situations you're not going to win. There are some situations where you show up and you're not going to win. And that's against everything that we believe and everything that we're taught. You know what I mean? That if we do our job and we do it right and you still lose, it doesn't make sense.
Well, that's something I've told many guys is, man, you can do everything right. You can make no mistakes, and you can still get killed. You can still things. You know, there's decisions that you make on the battlefield. If you say, okay, go left, you can go left, and everyone could be great, and it's the best decision ever. You could say go left, and everyone could die, and it's the worst decision ever. Yeah. There's things that you can't control inside of combat. So you prepare and train as hard as you can, and the other thing you do is you get the leadership in a mentality that they're not going to put themselves. This is like if my guys planned something that was stupid, I'd let them execute. I mean, this is in training. Yeah. If they came up with a dumb plan, they were going to execute that plan. I wasn't going to stop them, and they were going to get slaughtered. So they'd learn some lessons. But that's why that training is so important, and it's important in everything.
100%. 100%. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Oh, thanks so much, man. It's awesome. You're the man.
Yeah, right. I do not accept that from you.
You are the man.